When Demon Wilson was first asked if he wanted to do a television series with Red Fox, his reaction was disbelief rather than excitement. Foxx was known at the time for raw, unapologetic nightclub comedy that many believed would never make it past network censors. Wilson reportedly laughed off the idea, questioning who would ever put Red Fox on television. Yet fate had other plans. When the two finally met, something unexpected happened. Despite their differences in age, background, and temperament, there was an immediate, creative spark. What began as skepticism quickly turned into curiosity, then possibility. Neither man could have predicted that this unlikely meeting would lead to one of the most iconic partnerships in television history. At the start, there was optimism, mutual respect, and even a sense of shared risk, as both men stepped into unfamiliar territory that would ultimately define their careers in ways neither fully anticipated. The birth of a groundbreaking sitcom. When Sanford and Son premiered on NBC in 1972, it represented a cultural shift as much as a comedic breakthrough. At its center was a Black father and son relationship portrayed with humor, conflict, and emotional truth rarely seen on network television at the time. Red Fox brought Fred Sanford to life with sharp wit and fearless energy, while Demon Wilson grounded the show as Lamont, the patient and principled son. Their contrasting styles created a rhythm that felt authentic and deeply relatable. Audiences quickly embraced the dynamic, and the show soared in the ratings. What viewers saw on screen was chemistry that felt effortless, but behind the scenes, it was the result of two very different men learning how to work together under intense pressure. In those early years, the partnership felt promising, almost familial, built on mutual dependence and shared success. Early loyalty and a mentor's role. In the beginning, Red Fox played an important role in Wilson's rise. Despite his rough public persona, Fox could be fiercely loyal to those he believed in. He recognized Wilson's potential early and advocated for him behind the scenes, pushing for better billing and recognition as a true co-star rather than a supporting player. To Wilson, Fox initially felt like a mentor, someone who had navigated the industry's pitfalls and was willing to guide a younger actor through them. Their relationship off-camera often mirrored the dynamic audiences loved on screen, with Fox offering blunt advice and Wilson listening carefully. During this period, there was trust and appreciation on both sides. It seemed like the foundation for a long-lasting professional bond, one rooted in shared ambition and the belief that they were building something meaningful together. Success, pressure, and growing frustration. By 1974, Sanford and Son was one of NBC's highest-rated shows, and with success came mounting pressure. Red Fox began voicing frustrations about his treatment by the network, particularly regarding compensation and working conditions. To him, these issues went beyond money and reflected deeper concerns about respect and fairness. The stress took a toll on the set, and tension slowly crept into relationships that had once felt solid. When Fox walked off the show during a contract dispute, it sent shockwaves through the production. NBC chose to continue without him temporarily, placing Demon Wilson in an extremely difficult position. Suddenly, Wilson was carrying the show's emotional weight while navigating a situation he had not created. What looked like a professional decision to some would later be interpreted as something far more personal by others involved. Two perspectives. One breaking point. Wilson continued working during Fox's absence, honoring his contract and responsibilities while publicly expressing hope for reconciliation. To Fox, however, this decision felt like a lack of solidarity. He had expected Wilson to stand beside him more forcefully, even if it meant risking the show itself. From Wilson's perspective, the situation was far more complex. He was still establishing his career and faced the reality of industry obligations and personal livelihood. The disconnect between expectation and reality quietly deepened the divide between them. When Fox eventually returned after renegotiating his contract, the show regained its rhythm, but something vital had shifted. The warmth that once defined their off-camera relationship was gone, replaced by caution and unspoken resentment. Though neither man openly confronted the other, the emotional distance was unmistakable. Unequal rewards and silent resentment. After Fox's return, financial disparities became another source of strain. Fox's new contract placed him among television's highest-paid stars, while Wilson remained bound to his original agreement. Despite appearing in nearly every episode and having carried the show during Fox's absence, Wilson felt his contributions were undervalued. What stung most was the perception that Foxx, once his strongest advocate, no longer pushed for him with the same intensity. Creative decisions also became increasingly centralized around Foxx, leaving Wilson feeling sidelined. Conversations grew shorter, silences longer. What had once been collaboration now felt transactional. Both men remained professional, delivering performances that continued to delight audiences, but the trust that fueled their early success was eroding. The set became a place of careful navigation rather than camaraderie, and the partnership slowly unraveled without a single defining confrontation. The end of an era, on and off screen. When Sanford and Son ended in 1977, it closed a historic chapter in television, but it also marked the final separation between its two stars. Once the cameras stopped rolling, so did their relationship. Redd Foxx moved forward with new projects, returning to stand-up and later launching the Redd Foxx Comedy Hour. Demond Wilson, meanwhile, began distancing himself from Hollywood altogether. There were no reunions, no public reconciliations, and no shared reflections on their past success. What fans remembered as a loving, comedic father-son duo no longer existed behind the scenes. The silence between them spoke volumes. Each man carried his own interpretation of what had gone wrong, shaped by pride, disappointment, and unresolved hurt. The absence of closure allowed speculation to grow, but the truth remained quieter and more complicated than rumors ever suggested. Faith, distance, and final decisions. As the years passed, Wilson underwent a profound spiritual transformation, eventually becoming an ordained minister and speaking openly about his disillusionment with the entertainment industry. Hollywood, to him, represented an environment that conflicted with his evolving values. When Redd Foxx died suddenly in 1991, fans expected Wilson to appear publicly or attend the funeral, hoping for a symbolic reconciliation. He did not. Years later, Wilson explained simply that they were not speaking at the time of Foxx's death and that he had his reasons. His words were calm, not cruel, but final. There was no public tribute, no revisiting of old wounds. For Wilson, silence was not an act of bitterness, but a boundary. The relationship, once fractured, had never healed, and he chose not to reopen it in death when it could not be resolved in life. A legacy of brilliance and unfinished bonds. Today, the legacy of Sanford and Son remains untarnished by the personal rift behind it. The brilliance of Fred and Lamont Sanford still resonates with audiences, standing as a testament to the professionalism and talent of both men. Yet their story also serves as a reminder that creative partnerships, no matter how successful, are fragile. Miscommunication, unequal power, and unspoken expectations can slowly erode even the strongest bonds. The absence of reconciliation between Redd Foxx and Demond Wilson is not a tale of simple villainy or betrayal, but one of human complexity. Two gifted men, shaped by different pressures and perspectives, walked separate paths without finding their way back to each other. What remains is the work they created together, enduring long after the silence that followed.